Good morning, Canada. This message is so much more important than anything we do for the rest of our day, because today is the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. It is a day where we remember and mourn those children in our Indigenous communities who both lost their lives and their families who lost their loved ones to a time where intolerance flourished both outwardly and behind closed doors, and monsters reigned in our elite quarters and beyond. Today, we step back to consider, to listen, and to ponder, to remember, to take steps to move forward as a country, and to remember that every child matters, every person matters, and there is no room for violence and hate in the country of Canada. Let's go.
Canada Post workers are on the picket lines across the country. This comes after Ottawa announced sweeping changes to mail delivery in an effort to save money. Our Nicole DiDonato joins us now from a picket line in Toronto. So Nicole, the two sides, as we know, have been at odds for quite a long time now. But what brought postal workers to this latest strike action?
Well, Miranda, as you can probably see behind me, some postal workers are already on the picket line here at this Canada Post location in Toronto's East End, and more are expected to make their way here throughout the day. Now, these workers decided to walk off the job yesterday, just hours after the minister responsible for the Postal Service announced some major changes, including phasing out door-to-door mail delivery and switching to a community mailbox model. Ottawa is also relaxing Canada Post's delivery schedule, meaning it could take up to a week to receive a letter. It's also lifting the moratorium on closing rural post offices, so some locations could be shut down. The Canadian Union of Postal Workers says it is outraged and appalled by the changes, calling them drastic and noting they will negatively impact the public and postal workers. It says their 55,000 members do not want to be on strike, but that the minister, quote, forced their hand.
So then, Nicole, how is the government justifying these changes?
Well, Miranda, Procurement Minister Joel Lightbound actually says that these changes are necessary to ensure the survival of Canada Post. He says that the Crown Corporation loses $10 million every day and has relied on regular help and bailouts from the federal government just to stay afloat. The government also says that ending door-to-door mail delivery will also potentially save Canada Post $400 million a year alone. But Cup W argues that part of the Crown Corporation's financial crunch is due to uncertainty around the ongoing labor dispute and says these changes won't work.
Our hope is that the public and are as mad as postal workers. This isn't good for the union. It's not good for any of our members, and it's not good for the public. So we need everybody to get on side, and lower municipalities and provinces need to get on side and say what we need as a strong post office going forward.
All right, so a lot of people worried about their parcels and mail right now. Nicole, what do Canada Post customers need to know?
Yeah, well, this is certainly going to feel like deja vu for Canada Post customers who will remember last year's strike that halted mail service during the busy winter holiday season. Now, this time around, mail and parcels will not be processed or delivered throughout this national strike, and some post offices will also be closed. As for anything that's already in the mail, Canada Post says it will be secured and delivered as soon as the labor disruption is over. No new items will be accepted until that point either. Government financial assistance checks will still be delivered throughout the strike. Canada Post says it's disappointed the union has decided to strike, noting it will further deteriorate the corporation's financial situation. Now, in response to the walkout, Federal Jobs Minister Patty Hajdu says that federal mediators remain available to support the bargaining process. Miranda.
Welcome back to Bakes on Things, the first sip. I'm Chris Baker. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, join the conversation down below as well. This is an important topic today because we are talking Mark Carney and his hoodwinking of unions. Let's get this straight, shall we? In the 2025 election, Mark Carney sold himself to Canada's unions as their savior. He told them he'd protect jobs, stand with working people, and build a future where labor had a strong seat at the table. He cashed in on those endorsements and their votes. And now here we sit, layoffs after layoffs, cuts after cuts. What has he done since? 6 months. 6 months into his government, and he's already turned on them like a snake. He's tried to force flight attendants back to work. Do we remember this? He's ordered his finance minister to find ways to cut thousands of public service jobs. And now he's coming after Canada Post workers by backing a plan to eliminate door-to-door delivery and close rural post offices. That doesn't sound like union support to me. And to do all of this within 6 months of being elected, that's betrayal. Absolute betrayal of those he bought the votes from. Carney needed unions during his campaign. He wanted their credibility, their boots on the ground, their money, and he wanted their influence. And he got it. Unions across Canada, from the big public sector outfits to industrial labor councils, fell for it. They fell in line and endorsed Mark Carney. They sold that endorsement to their members as a choice for stability and job protection against the big scary orange man down south. Elbows were up, as they said, but that never really happened. And here's the truth. Carney used those workers as a political ATM. He cashed the check, then turned around and did the exact opposite of what he had promised to do. He told them jobs were safe, then he made job cuts one of his first major orders of business. He promised he'd respect collective bargaining. Then he had his jobs minister lean in and lean in on the flight attendants and now postal workers to seriously consider proposals that amount to rollbacks and cuts. This is classic Mark Carney. That's what it is. It's the classic Mark Carney pattern. Say one thing, do another, then spin it with technocratic jargon and word salad while working people pay the price every single day in this country. And this is such betrayal. I mean, nowhere is the betrayal clearer than Canada Post. The Canadian Union of Postal Workers is back on strike. This feels like deja vu because it really is. Why? Because Carney's government has ordered a sweeping overhaul of the Crown Corporation. That overhaul means ending daily mail delivery. It means shutting down the rural post offices in some communities across this country. It means replacing door-to-door service with community mailboxes for almost every single household from coast to coast. The government says Canada Post is losing money daily and needs to be sustainable. But instead of finding ways to modernize Canada Post with new revenue models, for example, like expanding parcel services, banking, or digital integration, all things that could help Canada Post turn a profit, they're just using the old standard way of cutting jobs. Thousands of them, in fact. These aren't just numbers on a balance sheet. These are letter carriers, mail sorters, clerks, real people with real families who Mark Carney is willing to just throw right under the bus because his government can't balance a spreadsheet for the life of them. Such a good banker. And to add insult to injury, his jobs minister, Patty Haydu, is hinting at federal intervention to break the strike if the union doesn't play ball. Well, we've seen that before, haven't we? Should we go back? Should we go? We're trying to go back. There it is, right there. Government-sanctioned bullying. That's what that is. That's what that is. This isn't just about Canada Post. It's about the bigger picture of the Carney government. The mask is slipping off. In just 6 months, he has gone after multiple unionized sectors: airline workers, public servants, postal workers. Who's next? Teachers, healthcare staff, auto workers? I mean, the sky's the limit now for him. He's got all the power and he's using it. He's wielding a stick that nobody can stop. He's showing that his government is perfectly willing to cut jobs, override strikes, and gut services, while pretending to be the friend of labor. And unions are now facing the reality that they've been played. They were used as props to get him into office, and now their members are the ones paying the steep and terrifying price of being laid off and no longer having an income. We've seen this story before. In the 1990s, governments across the Western world promised modernization and efficiency. And what did it mean? Well, it ended up amounting to mass layoffs and weakened unions and services stripped to the bone. Britain's Royal Mail privatization happened back then. American Airlines breaking strikes with government backing. Even in Canada, we've seen liberal governments in the 1990s slash public service jobs in the name of deficit reduction. And now look at the liberal deficits today. Mark Carney is running that same exact playbook, except this time he cloaked himself in union support to get elected. That's why this betrayal stings so much harder. It stings a lot because it's affecting families and their well-being in a time when it's already hard to afford their lives. So here's the real question. How much more leash do unions give this man? How much more betrayal do Canadian workers tolerate from the Liberals before they cut ties with a government that promised one thing and delivered the exact opposite for the better part of now exceeding a decade? Carney lied to get elected. He lied to working people. And now he's proving day after day that his real loyalty is not to the workers of this country, but to the bankers, the consultants, and the same global institutions, I should say, he's been part of for his entire career. If unions keep backing him, then they're not defending their members. They're actually just selling them out. And if Canadians keep tolerating it, then we're telling this government that it's okay to lie to us during campaigns, lie to us post-campaign, and then go ahead and just, you might as well betray us. It's fine. And it's okay to cut our jobs and our services while calling it modernization of our country. See, Mark Carney said he'd protect jobs. He said it all campaign long. He's tried to say it ever since. But he said he'd respect workers too. Do we remember that? He said he'd put people first. 6 months later here, we have flight attendants on strike, public servants on strike, and now postal workers who all know the truth. Those promises were absolutely worthless. Unions need to wake up. Canadians need to wake up. Because if this is what he's willing to do in just a half a year in office, imagine what the next 3 years are going to look like. Thanks for watching The First Sip here on Bakes on Things. Please take time to reflect and ponder on this Truth and Reconciliation Day. I hope you have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, put your thoughts on this craziness that Mark Carney has brought into our union workers and beyond down below. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you on The Last Word at 6 p.m. tonight. Take care.